Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carried.
Next item.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
Okay, next item.
Moving to item 2, under new business, forwarding a final copy of the Office of Legislative Auditor General's Financial Assessment Limited Review Report for the Wayne County Detroit Community Development Entity, audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended August 31st, 2024.
Okay, so we're going to start with item 2 today, and I will turn it over to our Auditor General, Marcy Cora.
We also have guests, if they could join us at the table. Maybe Yogesh would want to join also.
Okay.
Marcy Cora, Auditor General.
Vandy Ortiz, Deputy Auditor General.
Erica Jones, Principal Senior Auditor.
Hassan Sheikh, Director of Economic Development.
Lucius Anthony, Assistant Director of Economic Vitality.
Yogesh Kusani, Deputy Chief Financial Officer, Management Budget.
I'm going to turn it over to Vandy Ortiz.
Good morning. Today we have the Office of the Legislative Auditor General's Financial Assessment Limited Review for Wayne County Detroit Community Development Entity. And I would like to turn it over to Erica for the presentation.
Yes, on page 3 of our report, we discussed the external auditors' reports and letters. We noted that the company received an unmodified opinion on the audited financial statements for the year ended August 31st, 2024 from Allen Young and Associates. The auditor also noted that management omitted management discussion and analysis and a budgetary comparison schedule, which are required by GAAP to supplement the financial statements. While their absence doesn't affect the auditor's opinion, this information is considered essential by the Government Accounting Standards Board for providing operational, economic, and historical context to help users better understand the financial position. Within the financial results and operations, we noted that the total assets of the corporation, which was comprised of almost entirely cash bank deposits, decreased during the year ended August 31st, 2024 from 2023 of approximately $8.9 million or 2.2%. This decline was primarily due to a reduction in the loan fund receivable and microloan funds due from the bank. The total liabilities of the corporation slightly decreased during the year ended August 31st, 2024 from 2023 by roughly $19,000 or 1%. This increase was mainly due to a rise in accrued liabilities. The total net position, which was unrestricted of the corporation, also decreased during the year ended August 31st, 2024 from 2023 by approximately $28,000 or 1.1%. This decline was primarily due to an increase in accrued liabilities and a reduction in loan funds receivable and microloan funds due from the bank. The company also did not report any operating revenues for fiscal years ending 24 and 23. Its full $77 million had been allocated to the subsidiaries prior to fiscal year 2024. In fiscal year 2020, the subsidiary allocates were closed out and the related payments were received, resulting in no operating revenue in the subsequent years. The total operating expenses for the year ended August 31st, 2024 were roughly $30,000, consisting primarily of professional fees. This represents an increase of $7,851 or 35% compared to the year ended August 31st, 2023. The net receipts from the small business loan program, which represents the company's cash flows from investing activities, declined from roughly $23,000 for the year ended August 31st, 2023 to $6,491 for the year ended August 31st, 2024. This was a decrease of roughly $17,000 or 73% from the prior year. Based on our limited review, nothing came to our attention that caused us to believe that the financial report, including the audited financial statements of the Wayne County Detroit Community Development Entity, are not presented in conformity with the generally accepted accounting principles. It is our recommendation that the OAG's Financial Assessment Limited Review Report of the Wayne County Detroit Community Development Entity financial statements for the fiscal year ended 2024 is forwarded to the Wayne County Commission for receipt and filing. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you. So why wasn't the management discussion and analysis completed?
Yogesh?
Good morning again, Yogesh Kisani, Deputy Chief Financial Officer, Management Budget. As you know, CDE is a discretely presented component unit. And, you know, it's accounting and everything is done by an outside vendor. And there's not much more activity. Having said that, it doesn't mean we don't have to do it, but I haven't seen any management discussion for whenever I took over for last almost 8-9 years. But I would assure you, we'll make sure next year that we'll talk to our outsource accounting firm or consulting firm to make sure that they'll prepare a MD&A.
And Yogesh, thanks for that background. I was going to add to that exactly what you just stated, that, you know, while historically, even prior to my coming on, we hadn't seen that for this, that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done. And we've already had the internal conversations on making sure that it is done for next year.
Okay.
And it is going to be done for next year.
That's great.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Kling?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have no revenue outside of the microloans being paid back?
Yeah, so a lot of the inactivity, we've seen this happen with this entity over the last couple of years. We're looking at creative ways to get back into the active mode. One thing that we have currently active is that we have applied for new market tax credits in the last cycle. We're still waiting for responses to see if we can get those in. You know, but the inactivity is being addressed and looking at creative ways that we can get more active.
Okay, because this is a relatively new organization, right?
It was formed in 2003.
But it's been kind of sitting around, not a lot. Because you don't have many more, but what were these subsidiary allocatees that we're no longer using?
So these were prior to my coming on, I would say in 2020, prior to that, Yogesh, correct me if I'm wrong. So when the initial entity first came online, you saw a lot of activity. New market tax credits had been awarded and things of that nature. Once those depleted out, the lack of activity was explained in that sense. We're again looking for ways to get more active, and we have done the actions to do so by applying for new market tax credits, taking a look at you know, why in the past, you know, again, a couple cycles we weren't awarded the new market tax credits, and taking a look at our application process and making sure that we're amending those to make sure that we're doing it in a more better way that will put us in a better position. And that was, you know, assessing items from prior to, you know, from past leadership in this department, and then taking a look at what those applications look like. We were able to put in a good application, but in regards to whether we get awarded or not, we're waiting to see.
The goals here are very laudable for this organization, revitalize low-income communities, assist revitalization of low income. But I don't know if I've ever seen a report from this group in terms of your loans. Who have you loaned money out to? Have we ever provided that report to the commission?
Yeah, we have provided a report previously of the different communities that have received, particularly the small business loans.
Okay. And when was that report generated?
It was probably last year. Yeah, but we can look back.
You
and
got one
confirm.
coming for this year?
Like I say, it hasn't been much activity, but we can reissue the, a
Do you
simple
mind sending
report
that
and look
back
at it.
out?
Yes.
Not a problem.
Because now that you mention it, I'm like, yeah, vaguely remember seeing that, but
Not a problem.
yeah, okay, real good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do any reports go through the Economic Development Committee for this
In regards
program
to just us providing reports.
activity on this program?
If there's activity,
Uh-huh.
it would, and that would require for it to go to commission, it absolutely would come in front of the committee. Again, there's been inactivity in this
Yeah.
specific entity.
Okay.
So there hasn't been much for us to come out and report on. Like we would, for example, the BRA or the EDC, right? Where there's been more activity. Once, and hopefully we'll be awaiting the reply on our application. And once activity picks up, we will be providing, the required reporting that's necessary with this entity.
All right. Sounds good. Any other questions from commissioners? Marcy or Vandy, do you have anything to add? Okay. All right. I think we're all set on item 2. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
And we'll take a motion for both items. So,
Moving back to item 1, forwarding a final copy of the Office of Legislative Auditor General's Financial Assessment Limited Review Report for the Wayne County Land Bank Corporation audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30, 2024.
great, welcome.
Invite Wanda, or no? Do you want to invite Wanda?
Sandra Allen, Legislative Auditor 3.
Anthony Cartwright, Executive Director, Wayne County Land Bank.
See you.
Yogesh Kisani, Deputy Chief Finance Officer, Management Budget.
Wanda Taylor, Division Director for Economic Development Finance.
Vandy Otis, Deputy Auditor General.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
we have the Financial Assessment Limited Review for the Wayne County Land Bank Corporation. And I would like to turn it over to Sandra for the presentation.
Thank you, Vandy. Good morning. The Land Bank Corporation received an unmodified opinion on the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024 from Plant Moran, the external auditor for Wayne County. An unmodified opinion is issued when the external auditor concludes that the financial statements, taken as a whole, are presented fairly in all material respects, the financial position of the entity in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. A report on internal controls over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters was provided in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards. The report identified one deficiency in internal controls that was considered a material weakness. A material weakness is a deficiency or a combination of deficiencies in internal control such that there is a reasonable possibility that a material misstatement of the financial statements will not be prevented or detected and corrected on a timely basis. The assets of the land bank exceeded its liabilities by $12,028,099 and $7,729,781 for total net position for the years ended September 30th, 2024 and 2023 respectively. The increase in total assets and net position for the year ended September 30th, 24 primarily relates to the land bank purchasing multiple right of refusal properties, which are recorded at the true cash value, Non-ROR properties are carried at $250 per parcel. Total revenue increased by $5,336,375, or about 277.4%, and program expenses increased by $1,513,093, about 104.5% for 2024. The increase in revenue is the result of an increase in sales of parcels in fiscal year 24 as compared to fiscal year 23. The increase in expenditures is related to an increase in various contracting and administrative costs. The Land Bank's governmental fund ending balance for fiscal year 24 was $12,028,099, an increase of $4,298,318,000 from the prior year. The entire amount of the fund balance, other than the portion that is non-spendable for inventory and prepaid expenses, is unassigned, which means it is available for spending at the Land Bank's discretion. The external auditors determined that the Land Bank did not have a process in place to ensure identification and recording of all year-end closing entries in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles prior to the commencement of the audit. There was an adjustment to liabilities and expenditures needed to present the financial statements accurately as of September 30th, 2024, that was not identified by management. Specifically, subsequent to September 30th, 2024, an ongoing litigation case was settled that involved the Land Bank, requiring the Land Bank to pay the other involved party a settlement value over a period of time. The Land Bank did not initially record an accrual or expenditure for this settlement value as of September 30th, 2024. After discussion with the external auditors, management posted a journal entry to report the related expenditure and liability in the amount of $535,686. If the Land Bank had not recorded the auditor-identified entry, the financial statements would have been misstated. The external auditors recommend the Land Bank place an additional emphasis on reviewing all activity, including those transactions that are settled after year-end, to ensure identification and recording of all year-end closing entries in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles prior to the commencement of the audit. Management agreed with the finding. A thorough discussion with responsible officials, including elected offices personnel impacted by this finding, will take place. Additional processes and procedures will be documented and implemented to ensure that all year-end closing entries are recorded in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Based on our review of the external auditor's opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of the governmental activities of and general fund of the Wayne County Land Bank Corporation as of September 30th, 2024, and the changes in its financial position for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. It is our recommendation that the OAG's Financial Assessment Limited Review Report of the Wayne County Land Bank Corporation's financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024, be forwarded to the Wayne County Commission for receipt and filing. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Marcy or Vandy, do you have anything to add to that before?
If you could just maybe address the specific controls that were put in place.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, can you, yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry. If maybe you could just talk a little bit about the additional controls that were put in place.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start and I guess M&B can finish it up. The finding was a little tricky finding. The court case with Highland Park Water started in 2018. We just settled. We actually settled in fiscal year 25. We settled in November of 24, which is actually fiscal year 25. We didn't even make a payment to Highland Park until February of this year. However, because of, the county's issues with the data and everything. The audit because the audit was still going on, our books were still open. So we actually didn't make the payment until fiscal year 25, but it had to be realized in fiscal year 24 because the audit was still going on. So we spoke with M&B and we've got the controls in place. We just talked to them, let them know that the settlement is in motion, and we just put the safeguards in case that happens again. If the audit's still open, just to make sure we accrue the money in the previous fiscal year.
Okay. Is that acceptable to you?
Yes, it is. And I would like to also add too, in the past, we've had issues with the valuation of the properties coming over from the treasurer's office on the right of first refusal, and the properties that didn't sell at the second audit. I'm glad to see that we no longer have that issue. It looks like they're being recorded properly.
Okay. Good. Okay. Anything else to add? Commissioners, anything?
Thank you, Madam
Oh.
Chair. I just wanted to check the discussion you just had, Highland Park water, whatever. That is around the 535,000.
Yeah, that was the settlement amount, 535,000.
And the auditors, the external auditors looked at that
Yes.
and audited it?
Yep. This is
Okay.
their financial statements.
Okay. You got a fund balance of about 12 million.
That's not.
I'm just looking at my report.
Yeah, I get you. All right.
And there might be, but it's ameliorated a bit, discussing that a portion of that is non-spendable for inventory. How much of the 12 million is that, the non-spendable?
About 9.
About 9 million?
Yes.
And non-spendable, well, I kind
It's
of know what it
the-
means, but
it's
what does
the-
it mean in this context?
So in our inventory, especially in our properties, we got to hold that inventory at the true cash value, which is 2 times the SEV. So we don't sell at 2 times SEV. We sell at SEV. So once we sell a property, it's actually going to almost look like a loss. So it's going to bring that value down. Like I said, we don't have $12 million in spendable cash.
Yeah, and then what do you do with the $3 million?
We got programs. We have to do maintenance. We
That's your
have
maintenance
we have to pay
budget?
we have to pay our employees. We have to pay the insurance.
All of that comes out of there,
All that comes out of there. Yes.
including the maintenance of these properties that we still hold.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Marcy?
Can I just add too, there is an intergovernmental agreement between the Wayne County Treasurer and the Land Bank where the Wayne County Treasurer transfer funds to the Land Bank to cover the maintenance of the properties.
Yes.
If you could explain that a little bit.
Yes. So when every year the ending inventory of the previous year, which is in the November meeting, which ends in September 30th, we send a maintenance list to the treasurer of all our inventory. We get $550 per every new acquisition that they give us per year, and then we get another $350 per parcel that we still have in our inventory from the treasurer's office.
Commissioner Colleen?
I assume that's grass cutting?
Grass cutting, snow shoveling, boarding, emergency maintenance issues, any maintenance issues that occur with the property.
Dang, give me the name of that company so I can get my grass and snow all done for $550 a year.
And that's a lot. That's not a lot of cuts for $550.
That's what I'm pointing out here.
Oh yeah, right.
And who sets that amount at $550?
Myself and the treasurer, we have a discussion and we came up with that amount. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
But initially I say you get 550 plus the 350. So on the first one, we get 850. Yeah. So, but we only cut for 3 months out the year. So, yeah.
Marcy?
I could also add too, that is a direct transfer from the treasurer's office to the Land Bank.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Oh, Commission Counsel.
So to that point, of the $12 million, how much of that is from the treasurer?
From the treasurer,
For the
about 500,000, maybe 600,000.
Okay, so you get about $600,000 a
It
year.
just depends on the inventory. The number's gonna move depending upon what our inventory is at the end of the year.
And then I'll just state for the record, because we have several new commissioners who may not have heard me say this in the past, with regards to the agreement between the treasurer and if the county no longer holds title, we question the legality of the ability of the county to spend county funds to actually maintain property that the county doesn't own title to. The whole point of transferring it to the land bank is that you no longer own title, so you no longer have that liability and responsibility. However, you then, for properties you don't own, you're still maintaining, because the land bank is still a separate county, a separate legal entity. It is not Wayne County. So I've raised that question in the past, and I'll raise it again just to put it in the universe. Thank you.
Marcy.
And to add to Felicia's comments, we have included that in our budget sensitive report each year. It kind of lays out how much comes in from the treasurer and how much is expended on the grass cutting.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on this item? Okay. All right, well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
We do have a motion.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Oh,
That we accept.
already got it.
Too late?
Late.
Oh,
Commissioner Garza has moved, and it's been supported by Commissioner Wilson. All right, so please vote on your tablets.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I have none. Next item. Where are you going? Colleen.
I was just going to mention that at the next meeting is when Plant Moran will be here presenting the results of the ACFR.
Oh, yes, yes, please remember July 9th. Very important meeting. Okay, next item.
G, public comments.
Is there anyone here who wishes to make a public comment to the Committee on Audit in the chambers, online, or on the phone? If you're on Zoom or on the phone, you can just unmute yourself. Second call for public comments. Do we receive any emails?
No emails were received.
All right, third and last call for public comments. Hearing none, next item.
Adjournment.
It's been moved. Is there support? Support. All those in favor?